On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
You don't think there is a legacy system at play in a lot of these schools, and that's not considered privilege?
In what way?
In other words, you get in because your great granddad went here and he gave the school an endowment.
I don't think that we can assign a specific type of privilege to that. I think that somebody worked very hard and they built the right relationships, and now they're the beneficiaries as a result of somebody else working hard. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we assign a privilege to it. That's life.
No.
Listen, if we're sitting here trying to if we sitting here trying to make the argument to solve for everybody else's privilege and according to how y'all framing it, and using that as the baseline by which we evaluate ourselves and make our arguments, then essentially you saying that we need to be playing God and everybody needs to look the exact same, be born the exact same start, and all of this other type of stuff.
Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Hold on, real quick. Anton, that's not what
I go ahead, Redland. We're gonna go there.
I don't disagree when you ultimately say, in spite of that, you still have to persevere. You still have to work. You still have to overcome. Because guess what? My grandma told me, you're a young black boy. You're gonna have to work 10 times as hard to get half as much. I accept.
I don't believe that either.
Okay, you don't have to, but
privilege is real.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Can't even come to us.
I don't care. Just because you say it harder, it don't make it any more real.
But it literally is a.
Hold on, T. Hold on, T. Go ahead, T.
If it's not real.
Hold on, okay. Go ahead, T.
It's not. It is real. The word is real, but the context by which you're using it is flawed. That's what I'm saying. And I illustrated that when I highlighted your argument that you made last week when you said that beauty is an eye of beholder, and now you sitting here talking about pretty privilege is real. You speak with forked tongue, young lady.
If I'm understanding correctly, who on the panel agrees that pretty privilege exists?
We all did.
Okay, you all did. Anton, did you? I think Anton disagreed, right?
I didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't believe in privilege. I don't believe in it.
Well,
Anton, do you believe in nepotism?
I'm a C student. You got to break it down for me.
hiring like your family members just because they're your family.
No.
Okay.
Well.
Okay, so I have a question.
Wait, I got another question.
I have a question since you don't believe in pretty privilege. So when a woman is pretty and can get in front of the club, get VIP drinks, people throw parties for her just because of what she looks like. No talent, just because of what she looks like. What is that called?
Right.
It's just called life.
No,
it's literally life.
But what? Okay, it's called life.
If me and that not walk up into a bar and we're hee ha haing, dudes are going to buy us drinks. They're gonna be nice to us, and every woman will not have that same experience. That is pretty privileged.
Well, wait, let me ask.
Okay, so
it wouldn't happen if I wasn't pretty.
One at a time, y'all. One at a time.
So the point that I'm making is, where do you draw the line on how we use the word privilege? If, okay, you and that same girl, and you're a lot more intelligent than she is, and you go into a Fortune 500 company and you outperform her, do you have education privilege? Do you have insight privilege? Do you have communication? No. Stop. Do you have communication privilege?
Yes.
Do you leverage whatever it is that you're good at to become more successful in certain settings versus others?
But pretty privilege gets you.
Stop. Answer the question.
Any of those.
Answer the question.
I already did. I said yes for all of that.
Okay, so is that privilege also?
Yes. If you're educated and you know how to speak and different.
Hold on, no,
it's situations.
Pretty gets you
literally
in the door.
proving my point.
Hold on,
wait.
Hold on, let me. If I can
one at a time, y'all. One at a time.
Okay, pretty gets you in the door, just like dating.
Yep.
Okay. Pretty, feminine fit, that ain't gonna necessarily keep the man, but it makes you have the opportunity to meet a particular type of man.
Exactly. Yep.
It is.
Ironically enough, Kay, you literally just about a week ago made the argument that everybody can be a 10. You said
Depending
out
on
of
the
your mouth,
person.
correct.
Yeah.
You said is dependent on the eye of the beholder. So then now how can you then have a standard by which you associate privilege to be pretty when you just described last week of how it's in the eye of the beholder? How can you have a baseline for being able to even make this argument when it's a total contradiction from what you said the week before?
I've been
It
waiting.
don't even make sense.
I'm so ready.
Okay,
So,
I love it.
Hello, motherfucker.
so the things that make people generally attractive are things like symmetry, youthfulness, clear skin, straight teeth, white teeth, clear eyes, etc., right? All the healthy looking hair, whatever the case may be. Those things are universal things that people find attractive. So
there is a such thing as a 10. A
I
baseline, a
literally
baseline 9, a baseline 10.
No.
It's not according to the eye of the beholder then.
in my opinion,
No,
Ba-
no, it's
no,
not just
no,
your
no,
opinion,
no, no.
because when you start to talk about
No,
pretty privilege,
there are
you're not
things that
saying
are
my opinion.
attractive.
You're saying you're using real life examples of how when people go in these situations and go in a club and all of this other type of stuff.
You don't have to be a 10
Now
to
that
get
we
pretty
know,
privileged.
now when we talking about what what you said, now it's in my opinion. How do you
No.
change the narrative and the
Let
argument
me tell
when
you.
it suits you?
Let me tell you, because you don't have to be a 10 to get pretty privilege. You can be a 6 and get pretty privilege. You can be a 7, 8, 9. You can be a 5 and get pretty privilege.
All right, somebody clarify it for me, because
You
again,
just
I'm
and
slow.
you have
I
to
have
just be
no
privileged.
idea what you're talking about of how you can be a 5 and get pretty privilege.
Because a
That's
5 is
literally
average. That's in the middle, right?
I wouldn't say 5.
what
Average
are you
is average.
talking about?
I would say an adjustable 6. You want to do 7, 8, but
How
you got to be above
no.
average.
Hold on.
Average
How
is
can you be a
pretty.
5 and get pretty privilege? That makes
Because
I don't agree
because
with that.
if you have the universal things like clear skin, clear eyes, white teeth, things that make you look healthy, basically, a certain body type, waist hip ratio, these things are all universal. That's universal. Now, 10s are in the eye of the beholder. Yes. They
What are you talking about? Are you listening to yourself?
Anton, listen. You can think your wife is a 10. Somebody else might think she's a 7 or a 5.
No, I'm realistic. Like,
Ugh.
ain't nobody delusional. What are you
There is
talking about?
no
The thing is, Kay, I'm
You
gonna push back
can.
on this too.
What are we talking about?
There is a universal beauty. I'm sorry, beauty is not just subjective. That's why you have oh God, what is it, the most beautiful woman in the world, and you have these pageants. It's universal. That's why that's it. It's a universal beauty that people can see. And you're right, symmetry and teeth, and that all is correct. But ain't no 5s having pretty privilege. Pretty is not necessarily an average thing. That's why they have
what number do you consider average? 6, 7, whatever the number.
5 average is always, if you look at a bell curve, right? You got a 1, you got a 10. What's the middle? It's 5, the bell curve.
Okay.
So the more upper hand that you have on the bell curve, the prettier that you are, the more privilege that you're going to have.
I don't know. I think that the things that make it pretty privilege are those universal standards: bright eyes, clear skin, nice hair, straight teeth. Those are the things that give you privilege.
And that's the average stuff that you're supposed to have. You can go to the dentist, get noxzema. That's the average that you can get. Come on. I don't know, clean and clear, under control. So that's the normal things that you can do to take care of yourself. That don't make you pretty because you don't have acne.
This is the
What I'm
dumbest
saying that
junk
you
ever,
will
bro.
have, if Courtney, this is all I'm saying.
Oh, Lord.
If you have clear skin, you're symmetrical, you have a youthful look, you are going to have privilege over people that don't. That's all I'm saying.
No, that's not true.
What?
That chick that was explaining it had clear skin. She had a youthful look. She looked young.
And she has privilege over lot of people.
No.
She does.
Listen. There's a difference. There's a difference between my wife being attractive for me and let's be clear, like we're aging. Like we getting older. You know what I'm saying? We got to work a lot harder in order for us to keep things in place and all of that other type of stuff. Like it's normal. It's nothing out of the ordinary. The problem that I'm having is that we not being realistic and honest about everything that's really happening in society. Is not in the eye of the beholder. I can be incredibly attracted to somebody or whatever like that, but I can also be objective enough to say, yeah, you know, I'm not a 10. I'm not close to a 10. I get that. That's not crazy. But because I understand that and I acknowledge that, I'm like, it allows me to be able to leverage other things that I am a 10 in, you know what I'm saying, in order for me to be successful or be able to do all of these things. But I'm not going to sit here and be delusional and say it's in the eye of the beholder. It's not, fam.
It's not about being a 10 and it's not about being in the eye of the beholder. It doesn't
Wait a minute, can we agree on this? Because I feel like we're going down the rabbit hole. And I think more or less, Anton, you were saying that you don't believe in privilege, period. Right? So I want to define privilege, right? And then I had a question for you, my last follow-up question. So privilege is defined as a special right, advantage, or immunity granted or available only to a particular person or group. Do you think that definition of privilege is accurate?
No. Well, no, the definition is, but how we're using it is not accurate.
So let me ask you this. In PWIs, in HBCUs, do you think children like legacy?
What is a PWI? Again, I'm
private white institution.
What is it?
Private white institution. So do you think there's
what is that? Like, is it like a specific college?
White school.
Any
Harvard, Princeton, Penn State.
And it's predominantly white institution.
Oh, okay. So the most majority of the student body is white. I got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said private. I meant predominantly white institution.
Yeah.
So you don't think there is a legacy system at play in a lot of these schools? And that's not considered privilege?
In what way?
In other words, you get in because your great granddad went here and he gave the school an endowment.
I don't think that we can assign a specific type of privilege to that. I think that somebody worked very hard and they built the right relationships and now they're the beneficiaries as a result of somebody else working hard. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we assign a privilege to it. That's life. Listen, if we're sitting here trying to if we sitting here trying to make the argument to solve for everybody else's privilege and according to how y'all framing it and using that as the baseline by which we evaluate ourselves and make our arguments, then essentially you saying that we need to be playing God and everybody needs to look the exact same, be born the exact same start, and all of this other type of stuff.
Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Hold on, real quick. Anton, that's not what
I go ahead. We're gonna go to.
I don't disagree when you ultimately say, in spite of that, you still have to persevere. You still have to work. You still have to overcome. Because guess what? My grandma told me, you're a young black boy. You're gonna have to work 10 times as hard to get half as much. I accept.
I don't believe that either.
Okay, you don't have to, but
privilege is real.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Can't even come to us.
I don't care. Just because you say it harder, it don't make it any more real.
But it literally is a.
Hold on, T. Hold on, T. Go ahead, T.
It's not real.
Hold on, okay. Go ahead, T.
It's not. It is real. The word is real, but the context by which you're using it is flawed. That's what I'm saying. And I illustrated that when I highlighted your argument that you made last week when you said that beauty is an eye of the beholder, and now you sitting here talking about pretty privilege is real. You speak with forked tongue, young lady.